ذكر رحمة ربك عبده زكريا إذ نادى ربه نداء خفيا قال رب إني وهن العظم مني واشتعل الرأس شيبا.
I'm a Muslim, y'all. Alhamdulillah. It's been over a month. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. It's been over a month that I did my shahada. I've been low-key, been reading, been learning, been researching, and just going through the journey by myself for a little bit, just because I feel like a lot of people are against this. A lot of people have preconceived notions, just like I did. Which, I mean, it is what it is. It's the world we live in. The media controls everything. But with this video, guys, I want to tell you what led me to Islam. I want to tell you why I chose it. I want to tell you what did I think before and what do I think now that I am a Muslim. Why did I choose Islam? Or more importantly, what led me to Islam? Alright, so a little backstory. I was born into Catholicism. Not like 100% practicing Catholicism, but Catholicism nonetheless. My mom was Catholic. My grandma was Catholic. I can't say my dad was Catholic. I think my dad didn't have any religion at the time, or if he did, it was kind of like a very loose form of Christianity, maybe even agnostic. So there was no set path. And because there was no set path, that's what kind of led to me wandering around for a lot of years before I came onto Islam. So I was born into that. My parents got a divorce early. So my mom never forced us to practice Catholicism, but she was teaching us all about it. So like we kind of had that belief, which I'll get into that more in a second here, which if you're Muslim and you're watching this, you already know what I'm about to say. But we kind of had that belief, that inner belief in something. And you know, as the years passed by, my mom had gotten with some dude who was pretty much like a stepfather at the time. He was Christian, but he was a crooked Christian, I should say, because his actions didn't line up with his words and his beliefs. He believed in God, but dude abused me for like most of my childhood. So, I mean, there's that. Now, I'm not saying I'm judging him, I'm judging Christianity or any of that stuff based on what he did. I'm just saying that like that led even more to me not having a solid foundation for as to like what I was, who I believe, or what I believed in, and just having a set path to walk on. And then from there, I remember my sister had a baby, passed away around like 6, 7, maybe 8 months old. And at that point, it's just like there had been so much that happened negatively in my life. I had been through all that abuse. I was just having such a hard time. Then that happened with my sister, that it's like I just questioned. I questioned God. I questioned there even being a God. I was like, you know what? There's no way that there's a God if something like this happens. If I'm going through something like this, if other people are suffering and going through all these things. So I became atheist for, I want to say, maybe like 3-4 years. And the entire time I was atheist, like, yeah, I looked into science very strongly. And anytime someone would try to bring up God or would try to bring up religion or anything spiritual, I would shut them down, and I would try to say all these things and try to prove that God wasn't real. I would try to prove that everything that they were believing in, everything that they were thinking of, everything that they were saying was just dumb, just not real, that it was just retarded, for lack of better words. And I hate to say that, but I mean, that's the truth. That's what I did. And I was very miserable during the time that I was atheist. And I remember there were bits and pieces or bits and parts where I was with this girl and she was Christian, so she would always bring me to church, but it's like I never vibed with it. I never really vibed with it. And then her and I, we ended up breaking things apart. It was like 2015. Then I ended up meeting my ex, which was my fiance. It's the one I was engaged to. She was Christian. Her family was very, very Christian, and her mother was literally a believer. Like, if you ever seen a believer, like, this is someone who's legit a believer. All right, she was very strong in her faith, and just being a part of that made me want to seek God and to go deeper into it. And at the time, which I completely forgot to say, but at the time I was starting to come back to God. I just didn't know what I was doing. I was on this new age thing where it's like consciousness, meditation, third eye, pineal gland, astrology, crystals, astral projection, all this stuff where it's like, yeah, I was seeking God, but I didn't have a set path. I was like wandering about in the dark, just lost, to be honest with you guys. So when I was with this girl, I was doing that. I was trying to seek, I was trying to do all these things. And I would say about 2016, 2017, that's when I basically started going deeper into Christianity. And I even got baptized. I was reading the Bible. I was going real deep into it. But there were so many contradictions that I was finding. And if y'all want to know about the contradictions, by all means, wait till the end of the video. All right, I'll get into that. We just wait until the end of the video. There were contradictions, things that just left more questions than answers. And it wasn't clear cut. It wasn't logical. It was just a lot of stories, which I don't mind the stories, but it's like, it's something that you had to interpret for yourself. And I feel like if something is going to show you the way, if something is going to show you a set path, there really shouldn't be that much room for interpretation, but more so a clear cut, raw, like, hey, this is it, go ahead. Like, that's the path right there. This is all you have to do. A clear cut instruction manual. If you have a bed frame for IKEA and you're trying to build this bed frame, you want the instruction manual to be as clear as possible. You don't want the instruction manual to say, hey, grab this screw and you know what, just figure out where you're gonna put it. Just have fun, go and figure it out. Like, you don't want that. If you have an instruction manual, you want it to be clear, concise, precise. You want it to be clear cut, just cutthroat, to the point. You know what I mean? So it's like, the Bible wasn't that for me. And like I said, it kept bringing up more questions than answer. And I'm not knocking it, all right? Because who am I to tell someone that what they're believing is right or wrong? Now, of course, that opinion might change the deeper that I get into Islam. But I strongly believe that, you know, God guides who he wills. And if the only way to reach you is through Christianity, or if the only way to reach you is through Buddhism or even the New Age stuff, Hinduism, whatever it is, then that's how he'll do it. That's how God will guide you. Now, is that technically the right way? Well, maybe not. I can't fully speak on that yet because my knowledge is limited. I'm still very new to this, but to keep going with the story, I kept going into that, and I remember her and I split beginning of 2018, and during that time I dropped the Bible, I dropped Christianity, and I pretty much became agnostic, where it's like I believed in God, but I didn't really go much further than that. I stopped all the spiritual practices. I stopped really trying to do all that New Age stuff. Like, the only thing I really kept was meditation, and that's pretty much it. Right? That's pretty much it. But fast forward to 2019, I'm over here living with my two best friends at the time, and it's like I had everything. Material wise, I had everything. Social wise, I had that. and I was talking to girls. Nothing serious, but I was talking to girls. Like I said, I was talking to girls. I was ready for some sugar walls. It just didn't end up happening. But I was talking to girls, like everything. I had everything that I could want at that point. But it's like I still felt empty. I still felt pretty trash, to be honest with you guys. I still felt like I was looking for distractions anywhere that I could find them. And a part of me came on to, or not a part of me, but I had stumbled onto dopamine detoxing. And when I had first done dopamine detox, I remember very clearly that I was being almost like drawn to it, like something was telling me to read the Quran. And I've never read the Quran, but I had a Quran. I had a Quran and I had a Bible because I had some kind of bookshelf in my room. It was silly to even think about that, but I literally had them just for display with this Arabic knife and these crystals and these plants. It was stupid. It was stupid, but you know what? Everything happens for a reason. All right, so I started feeling pulled to read the Quran. I do not read it because I was ignorant at the time. I was closed off. I did not want to, and I remember that just kept going. I kept feeling that over and over and over and over and over again, but I just kept disregarding it and doing my martial arts and doing my work because I was real headstrong and just focused on what I was doing this whole dopamine detox for. Which, if you watch my videos, that's what I said. I said that I was doing it for martial arts and for my work, to become more obsessed with martial arts. But here I am being pulled in this direction. So to end that part, yes, I kept being pulled, didn't go to it, didn't read it. So then I got into surgery in 2020 in the summertime. Ended up coming back from New York because that's where I got the surgery. And again, I started feeling really, really low, like really down, depressed, anxious. I don't even want to get deeper into that, but I decided I was going to do dopamine detox again. And the first day that I was doing it, I was sitting in this exact room right there on the ground, and I started feeling that same feeling that I felt the first time that I did a dopamine detox, which was to read the Quran. And I didn't read it. I was, you know what, I'm doing dopamine detox, I'm not going to read it. Second day, even stronger, and I was contemplating. I was like, should I read it, should I not read it? Third day, so strong that I was like, you know what, I'm just going to read it. It's a spiritual, holy book. It's not going to be that bad for dopamine detox purposes. And I tell y'all, like, once I started reading this, I want to say like the third day in, so 6 days later of doing the dopamine detox, 3 days later of reading the Quran, I remember after reading it the third time on the 6th day, I sat down to meditate after, and it's just, it all clicked. Like it just all clicked, and I just understood. And it's like, to put it in the most simple words possible, it's as if I had found what I was looking for. And I'm not trying to hype it up, but I felt these waves going through my body, and like I've never felt anything like that. Like, listen, I've done shrooms, I've done acid, I've done coke, I've done ecstasy, I've done Molly. I know they're pretty much the same thing, but I've done them. I've done alcohol, I've done weed, I've done so many things in my life, and nothing has ever made me feel what I felt in that exact moment when I had these waves rushing through my body. And I'm not gonna sit here and say, hey, yeah, you're gonna feel the same thing once you stumble onto the truth, or once you find the path. But it's like, for me, I can only speak for me. I can only speak for myself. And that's what led me to Islam. That's why I chose Islam. That's why I accepted Islam. And I believe that it was in that moment that I did become a Muslim. All right. Now, what did I think before? Before I got into Islam, I had these preconceived notions that, for one, Islam was only for Arabs, which is retarded. Islam is for everyone. just a preconceived notion. Right? These are things that I was thinking about. Number two, I thought that it was something very oppressive. But the more you read into it, the more you see for yourself that it's actually not oppressive. And then number three, I thought it was very extreme. I thought that the people who practice this stuff were, the people who they show on the media doing all this crazy stuff. And it's like, dude, that's not it at all. Like, these people are extremists. They have that extreme nature. They're thinking in a way, and they're taking it out of context and doing things under the name of Islam, under the name of the Quran. But it's like, that shouldn't be the factor as like, okay, this is what Islam is. It's these people right here, which that's what the media portrays. The media portrays that like these people that are bombing, that are doing all this stuff, those are the ones that Islam creates. That's what Islam is. But that's not what Islam is. Like I said, these are people who are extreme. That's them. It's like when you have Christianity and you have the KKK. Like, bro, you don't say that everyone who's Christian is like these people. These people were just extremists and they took it out of context. And that's the same thing with everything that's happening in today's day and age. It's that the media has a hidden message, and I'll probably get flagged. This video might be put down for that, but I'm gonna say what it is. All right. That's what I thought about this. I thought that this wasn't it. I thought that this was just another religion. But as soon as I got into it, man, it's definitely not it. All right, and the last thing that I want to say is that this thing right here, this holy book, is logical, and it's not this thick. All right, y'all. This is a transliteration and a translation, so it's probably like double the size of an original Quran. But it's logical. It's logical. It's clear cut. It's like I said, you have an instruction manual, and it tells you exactly what to do. There's no room for interpretation. There's no room for guessing. It's not read between the lines. It's no, this is exactly what it is. It's clear and cut. And I'm gonna tell y'all right now, like, I find that to be priceless. I find that to be the only determining factor of like, should you take this path? Should you not take this path? But then again, that's just me. Right? That is just me. I'm just saying here. But to end the video off, if you have watched this far, you're either one, a Muslim, or two, you generally like the content that I put out, and you actually want to hear what I have to say. So either the two, if you've made it this far, then what I'm doing with two of my brothers, they're not blood brothers, but they are brothers in faith. We're making a podcast all about Islam. We're gonna be talking about all the details. We're going to be going in depth, like why Islam logically. We're going to be talking about haram, halal. We're going to be going in depth as to like why things are haram, because like that's something that I didn't understand from a non-Muslim point of view. When I wasn't a believer, I didn't understand why there were these things that were haram, like music, for instance. Why is music haram? We're going to get into that into the podcast, right? But again, it's a very clear cut and raw podcast. There's no filtering. We're just talking straight up. We're recording our conversations and we're putting them up there. All right, so if that's something that you're interested in, stay tuned. I will be announcing it throughout the next few weeks. I'll be announcing little things here and there, and then I want to say in like 2-3 weeks, that's when the actual channel is going to drop, and we're going to have it on iTunes, Spotify, I believe, just all the platforms, because we're going to have the visual and we're also going to have the audio as well. All right, so if that's something you're interested in, like I said,